man-to-man coverage. 4th and 3. Game on the line. Williams lofting one for a doozy. He caught it! He caught it!
Kamara in at tailback. He's got 5 rushing touchdowns. And now 6. Tied for the most all time.
You're listening to the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen, Matt Hartman, and Ryan Matthews. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pigskin Project. So I think that I think it would be disrespectful to not just tribute this episode to the legendary Jim Irsay, who passed away today. So rest in peace to him. Thoughts and prayers with his family. And I just want to say thank you to what he's done to the league and his organization as well. And the hospitality that he has given us throughout the years to be able to host the Combine as well at his place at Lucas Oil Stadium. So, pretty cool that, we were able to be kind of around him at one point in time. Ben and I remember going to Colts training camp at one point in time, seeing him there and everything was pretty cool. But nonetheless, the world of football lost a legend today. And so this one goes out to Jim Irsay. So without further ado, on a brighter note, Ben, how you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. I have been enjoying the little bit of break I get before I start my job. Just relaxing a little bit. It's a nice calm before the storm of everything, but it is great. Ready to talk about some Bo Nix and Geno football here. But, Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Been a good week. Excited for the show. But before we get started, you guys think Caitlin Clark fouled Angel Reese on purpose?
Oh, good God.
It was a take foul.
Because it has started an RG3 versus Ryan Clark war. I don't know if anyone's seen that, but I've been following that. That's been fun. That's been interesting. But it's all started with that foul. And
she did foul her on purpose, but it was a take foul. You see it all the time. We saw it how many times in last night's game, and I'm sure it's happening right now as we speak in the Eastern Conference. It's a take foul. I don't think there's anything more to it.
It's been blown out of proportion, but yeah, this is pretty obvious to me. I mean, it's been crazy lately. Yeah. So I'm so tired of that whole thing, man. And the whole Ryan Clark and RG3 thing, I'm not even going to begin to take sides here because it's been such a week. So let's go ahead and dive right into weekly news so that we can get these Broncos and Raiders fans their schedule predictions. So the first one, and something we've been anticipating to talk about for a long time, Brock Purdy signed a new contract extension with 49ers for 5 years, worth $265 million. I think this is entirely too much. I mean, I get it. I think that this, I know that they think he's the guy, and that's fine. I disagree. You're allowed to disagree. It is what it is. Matt, I remember texting the group chat about it. Why don't you explain to people what your viewpoint is on it and kind of the arguing point that you had towards, mine when I was like, LOL, Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody's first opinion on any quarterback deal is, well, this is an overpay. And you're probably right, because most quarterbacks get overpaid. And you go to the annual contracts right now. Dak is making $60 million. Burrow, Allen, Jordan Love, and Trevor Lawrence are all paid on the same tier at 55, and then we get into where Brock Purdy is at. He's paid aligned with Jared Goff and Tua Tagovailoa. It's just the nature of the beast, is that these quarterbacks are more expensive than everybody else. And having a good one, having a capable one, is more valuable than anything on the planet. And it was my same thing with Dak a year ago. Well, what else are they going to do? Well, they got to pay him $60 million because there's no other avenue. Their only other avenue would have been trading for Joe Milton at the time, who was a rookie. Like this is before they even traded for him now. The same thing goes for the 49ers, is that if they don't get this done now, and I think they got it done at a really good price, to be honest, it's exactly the Tua contract, a year later, or not an exact year, but a course of a football year later, and it was very identical guarantees. So you got the better player at the same market value contract. I had no problem with it, and he's still an ascending player, theoretically. If this is what Brock Purdy is for the rest of time, yeah, maybe the contract is a little overblown. Let's say the same thing about Jordan Love. Let's say the same thing about Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah.
It is going to be fun. Yeah, Ben.
It's not to be boring, but it's the same thing I say every single time a quarterback ever gets paid on this podcast. I've said it the last 4 years that we've done it. It's a fine move because, again, as Matt had said, what's your other option, right? Your other option is to let him walk and then have fun finding another quarterback, right? I've said it again. Every single time a quarterback has ever been signed, ever over the last 4 years that we have talked about it, you're going to overpay, just like Matt said, but it's your only option because your only other option is to let someone walk. And who's their backup right now? Like, it's fine. I think it gets overblown. I think he's a fine player. I don't think he's like a top 10 guy. He's probably closer to 11 or 12, somewhere in there. But again, you had to do what you had to do to keep the offense together, and I don't think it was an awful contract.
Next up for the 49ers, they also extended linebacker Fred Warner to a 3-year, $63 million deal. That one, very well earned as well. Fred Warner, one of the best in the game at his position. Next up, Super Bowl winning head coach Nick Sirianni now got signed to a multi-year extension. So that one's kind of interesting for the Eagles, but more interesting and probably the talking point of the day before what happened in Indianapolis happened. The Eagles' famous tush push play did not get banned today. So 22 teams, if I'm wrong, correct me, but the way that I read it was that 22 teams voted against it. And so, they almost had enough, I assume, to, get rid of it. But, it did not get moved. We are still going to be pushing and pushing the pushing. So,
yes.
I don't know. That sounded better in my head. I don't know what I'm going with.
You got to keep on pushing along.
There you go. Thank you.
There you go. As you said, it was close to being banned. It was 2 teams away. They had to get 24. As you said, they only got 22. Glad to see it stay. Obviously, I'm a proponent, as you can see the flag behind me. But to me, it's not a big deal to me either way. Like, awesome, we kept it. I wouldn't have been heartbroken if we didn't. Right, as the Jalen Hurts advocate and Eagles advocate that I am, it would have been fine either way. Eagles specifically, you have Saquon Barkley. You still could run a QB sneak with Jalen Hurts. You have AJ Dillon. It was minuscule in terms of my worrying in terms of that, even if it did get banned. But hopefully we see more teams run it, because I think that was a big thing. It's like, oh, it's not a football play. Like, it's cheap. You get first downs all the time. Well, the Eagles were the only one in the entire league that was actually efficient at it. So it'll be interesting to see how it stacks up if more teams try to run it this year.
Yeah, I think that it's the dumbest thing ever. And I think a lot of people think this way as well. As far as trying to ban it, I think it's a stupid argument. You can't just defend it. People were probably mad when you did the forward passing and stuff like that as well. Like, this is just another generational play. It's easy. I don't know, but
you can't ban a play because a team is better at it than everyone else. You can't ban Patrick Mahomes from throwing the football to Travis Kelce because he's better at it. Like, it's stupid.
Let's be honest here, right? the Packers are like one of the most well-known teams to be against it, right? And
Yes.
for one, I'm coming from a fan base who is also, or not fan base, but a fan base rooting for a team that is also against it for whatever reason, right? Now, I think that it's just ridiculous because you look at it, and when I bring up the Packers, I mean it because it's like this team has lost to it and have tried to perform it, and they cannot. And so, they can't defend it. They can't do it themselves. So what do? They cross their arms and pout about it. And that's basically that's exactly what they're doing. And in my opinion, this is exactly what it comes down to. They can't beat it, so they're going to try and ban it. So to me, it's a weak excuse for them to just go into these meetings and say, "Oh, it's about player safety and blah blah blah." Like,
Which
you
not a single player got hurt.
Exactly, that's my thing.
Yet.
So you can't. Yeah. My thing is with how dangerous the game is in general, with how physical it is, and how much contact there is on every single play. Right? Let me ask you this: if you're going to ban the tush push, should we look into field goals and how players are, pushed down and everything like that as well to try and block kicks? Because if that's the case, take a look at the Bears and Packers game when they blocked the kick to go ahead and, lose. The Bears lose to the Packers in the week 1 or the first time they played each other last year. Okay. And they tried to do it again in week 18, but failed. So, kick rocks is what I'm trying to say. But like I'm saying, there's more physical plays that it's not just the tush push. It's just other people can do the other ones. And so to me, I'm like, don't pawn this off on player injuries because it hasn't happened yet. You're just a bunch of sore losers. You watched the team go all the way and win the Super Bowl, and now you're mad about it. Get back to the drawing board and either learn how to defend it. You're the best in the world at trying to draw up defenses because you're the best football league in the world. And if you can't figure it out, I'm sorry. Like, figure out how to do it yourself then. It's the most efficient play in short distance. Now, the one thing that Ben Johnson said that I found was pretty interesting was just him saying, like, well, it's not explosive. So it's like, I don't like plays that aren't explosive. It's like sometimes you don't necessarily have to get the explosive play. Like sometimes you need just enough to get across the line, and that's why QB sneaks are involved, and then you kind of make it more advanced. And there's so many different plays as well that would have been affected if this play would have been banned. Like if your running back is going and all of a sudden runs into two defensive backs and a linebacker comes up and pushes the guy over the line, you can't do that anymore. Like there's so much, the game would be affected so greatly if this play was banned. And that is why I think that this is the dumbest thing that 22 teams voted for. Like, at some point, this play is either going to be non-existent or, I mean, I don't know. It's a stupid thing that we're even talking about this, and we're going to have to talk about it for the next year. They're going to be talking about it on broadcast. We're going to be talking about it after the playoffs and everything because the Eagles will be there as well. You're going to think, hey, no matter what the Eagles do this year, what would have happened if we would have gotten rid of the tush push? And let me ask you this. If you're really that upset about it, are you playing fantasy football? Because if you have Jalen Hurts, you're not that mad about it. I'll just tell you that much. Just look at the brighter side of it. You know what I mean? But I know Matt's got some points he's been saving for the show as well, so I want to give him the floor now.
Yeah, so the 10 teams that decided to keep the tush push, ironically enough, like one of them is the Eagles, so they kind of don't count. So 9 teams, but 7 of them are actually AFC teams. So teams that would not fare into the path of the Philadelphia Eagles, the Ravens, the Patriots, the Browns, the Jaguars, the Dolphins, the Titans, the Jets. The lone NFC teams, the Detroit Lions, and the New Orleans Saints. Of course, the Lions are... Yeah, the Saints have no shot of competing, so they don't care.
Well, and Kellen Moore.
The Lions aren't scared to compete. That's what I learned. And then I just wanted to pull it up because I sent it in the group chat. But so Seth Wickersham of ESPN released a great article about this, of billionaires arguing about a football play, and I thought this was really fun. So Jeffrey Lurie brought in Jason Kelce, and someone on Twitter said that, like, just imagine Jason Kelce when they won that Super Bowl parade. And, like, the way he was dressed up is that's how he walked into the meeting. Just imagine that when, like,
the
all
mummer's
these go through
outfit.
your head. But yeah, like, Jeffrey Lurie talked about the play for, like, almost an hour. I thought that was fun. He made an analogy telling the room that regardless of whether the play was banned, it was a win-win for the Eagles, adding that it was, quote, like a wet dream for a teenage boy, about, like, either way. Well, we're going to win either way, because if it's gone, then we're so good that you had to ban it. Thought that was funny. Then he spoke several more minutes, adding that whoever voted to ban the play will be taking liability for putting quarterbacks at risk. So I thought, I don't know what that means, because if no one else is running it, how is how is the like, because the way this is being, like, rehearsed is like this is the safest play of all time. I don't know. Maybe it's not. And then Jason Kelce spoke. He said that this is the best one, that he would return to the NFL if he could run 60 tush pushes a game. So I think we should get in, like, Nick Sirianni, you got extended, all right? You got your money. Let's bring back Jason Kelce for Week 18 one game to just see him run 60 tush pushes. That's immediately where my head went.
Please.
And then lastly,
You know where my head went? Oh, yeah.
Where?
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, obviously, like, where do the Bears stand on this? Was my first question about a month ago, right? And George McCaskey was one of the people to talk about it, so I'm gonna just completely. He is. I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna be on record for this, and I don't care if he sees it or what, and I don't care if this costs me a future job or whatever. I'll stand on this hill and I will die on it. Okay? He said, and I quote, when asked about whether or not the Bears were one of the teams to vote to ban the play, he said yes. And when they asked him why, he said health and safety. I know they say we don't have sufficient injury data on it, but to us, it appears to be an inherently unsafe play. And to that I say, hey, you idiot. Whew. I just want to say, you're an idiot. You need to be a fan. Be a fan. The dude already said that he is a fan. He has no idea what he's doing. He's just a fan, right? When it comes down to it, he's just a fan, which is why he brought in Warren, right? And then, Warren and everything came in with Poles and everything as well. So technically, Poles was one of the greatest decisions he's ever made, in my opinion. And I'm sitting here thinking, our front office, if this was a group decision, to put in the ballot as the Chicago Bears, not just George H. McCaskey signing this to say tush push no. Like, it's more so, if this is the board that is coming up and saying this is what we need to do, all of you are a bunch of wussies that have no intentions to win, and that's clear as day now. I mean, if you had a clear intention to compete against a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, you wouldn't just be constructing rosters consistently to try and compete with them, but also trying to figure out coaching staffs and other front office pieces to be able to put you in that position, and you haven't done that for decades. So to me, it's just boiling over and stacking on top of the mediocrity and idiocracy that I have to deal with on a year-to-year basis. It's just like, and there's other franchises that are doing it too. Like, it's just as frustrating to me. So that's where my head's going. I'm going to be off camera for just a second because I saw a spider. I got to kill this thing.
Yeah, I'll wrap this up here. First off, I think Ryan is more, I don't want to say bent out of shape, but it is more passionate. Yeah, more passionate about
You're darn right.
which is funny, but I guess this is where I'm going to leave it. I don't think it is because of injury, because no one has gotten hurt, right? And football is an inherently dangerous sport. People get hurt every year. Should we ban QB running because it ended RG3's career, because it tore Kyler Murray's ACL 2 years? Like, we can't just ban a play A because it's hurt, but B, it's minimal high speed contact, which is like the whole reason that they even like changed the punting rule, for example, is because they want to like get rid of the high speed collision, and it's minimal high speed collision here, obviously, as well. At the end of the day, I think it was because it was a bad look for football. It's not a sexy play. It's not a deep pass down the seam to a star wide receiver. I just think the NFL wasn't happy with how it looked on the field in terms of the play, and they said, we don't like this, so let's try to ban it.
If the Frankie Louvu kind of like 5-play sequence where he jumped over the line every single time, do you think like if that sequence never happens, I don't know if this is ever discussed personally.
I agree.
Because
I agree.
I think that was a point where the league was like, all right, we got to step in, But like to Ryan's point about the George McCaskey, like how many owners do you think are just like, well, it looks bad, so I don't want it in the game anymore. And
exactly.
And then, the last thing from that article, which go read the article. It's one of the few free articles on ESPN. I thought it was really detailing of like a real like owners meeting and things like that, and it's cool to listen to. And Jerry Jones had some quotes in it, but the last thing was Art Rooney II, the Steelers owner, was talking about how Jason Kelce might have swayed people. And just imagine if this was at 24 flat walking in the doors, as Diana Fraud Rossini reported that it was going to get banned. What if Jason Kelce swayed and saved the tush push? That was something on my mind. Also, I thought that was pretty funny. And then some owners, some sources said his speech was inspiring, and some said it was generic. So, very opposite ends of the spectrum there. But to each their own. I wasn't in the room, so I can't comment on the impassionate generic speech that happened. But overall, it's a fun talking point. I think it's never gonna go away. Talking with you guys, like there are teams right now that are going to learn how to do it, A, or B, they're the other side of the team, because there's 22 teams, so like they could be on either side, that are hoping for someone to get injured to kind of like, well, see, we were right, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. I think it's a unique play that truly only Jalen Hurts and a center with the leverage instincts that their centers have can really complete at the high success rate that they have, personally.
Yep. I agree. And really quickly, if only y'all could have seen the action that is going on in Ryan's background right now. He's currently going around his room with a flashlight looking for this spider, frantically trying to find it. It is a great watch, but I guess the final thing I'll say before Ryan sits back in his chair here and we get moving on, I just think that there's something bittersweet to the Packers being the one who wanted to bring this up in the first place, and the final vote being 22-10, and that's exactly what that playoff score was.
Oh my God!
22-10.
I didn't even think of that.
22-10. It's just gonna. Those two numbers are just gonna haunt them forever in this thing of beauty. But we can carry on here now.
You want to know what else is
push
gonna
on
haunt
the
people
show.
forever?
Yes.
So I went to go and hit it, and like I was totally an inch off, and it totally like fell off the ceiling. It's somewhere around here, but it's not
right.
dead.
You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
You know.
All right.
Yeah.
Right,
all right.
Turn into Spider-Man this episode, guys.
Joe
Yeah.
Tooney contract, 2 years, $35 million. great number for him. We all expected Joe Thuney to get.
You don't trade for him
that,
to not extend him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a contract
great
we all
extension.
expected.
Mm-hmm.
We all expected it as soon as the trade happened. Getting up there in age, that's why it's only 2 years. He'll probably play out these final 3 years. My guess would be retire. But good extension all in all. But Ryan, your thoughts?
Yeah, great. Great extension. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it saves us $8 million in this year's cap space, which is fantastic. I don't know what we're gonna do with that, but it's there for the taking if need be.
Yeah.
Running back question mark. Trey Hendrickson question mark. I wouldn't lean the latter. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Regardless, we're gonna be fine. I mean, Caleb's gonna take us farther. We're pushing the chips in. This is the guy. This is the guy. We found the guy, and that's what matters to me. I think that's all that matters, in my opinion. We found the quarterback. Just build around him. I mean, look at Jacksonville, for example, right? Like, it's definitely not a complete team, but it makes it so much easier when you have resolution, at least in that position specifically.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but when it comes to Joe Thuney, you don't want anybody else, really. This dude's a multi-year, winner of the Super Bowl. He's blocked for 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So, I mean, he could probably teach somebody a thing or two. And I'll be honest with you, I think that, and as weird as it might sound to some because he's an O-lineman, I think Caleb could even potentially learn from Thuney as well. So, that's a point that hasn't been brought up enough, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how everything works out. So, lastly, really cool tidbit that was passed as, we're talking about these different things that owners are talking about and voting on and stuff like that. The owners have passed the resolution allowing NFL players to participate in flag football in the 2028 Olympics per multiple reports. So that's pretty cool. And all of us kind of agree that that's pretty cool. So you know what else is pretty cool? The fact that we may or may not be doing a segment on that next week. So I don't want to cover that too much for right now. Except for the fact that I think we're all going to watch it, right? I think that's something to plan for.
I do think it's fun though when that had come out. Like there are definitely 2 camps to it. Like when it had come out, someone had asked AJ, and given I think a lot of it's because of the Philly media. Someone's like, "Oh, like AJ, like are you gonna do it?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "I'm not gonna do it because if I do it, you guys are just gonna like poop on me for doing it, not being focused on the team." And he's like, "Let's just keep the main thing the main thing. I'm not gonna do flag football." And then you got like the opposite camp of like when that news came out, JJ's like, Justin Jefferson's like, let's run this. He's like, I'm ready to like tear up these French dudes in flag football. Like, let's go. So it'll be fun to see like the different reactions. And I know there's even like a camp of like people that like professionally played flag football that like are a little upset about it. Like there's like this star flag football quarterback who's like upset, and he's like, I've been doing this my entire life. Why should I not be on the team? So it'll be interesting.
Well, it's like what is it? Because they have 2 sets of basketball for the Olympics. They have of course, the 5-on-5 with 13 players, and they have 3-on-3. And 3-on-3 basketball is played completely different in the half court compared to that. Like, what is it? A year and a half ago, whenever the Olympics was ramping up, I listened to Jimmy Fredette. He was on the U.S. national team for 3-on-3 basketball last year, and he's talked about it. So it's, I would get if you're a professional flag football guy, if you're kind of getting your spot taken away because, Lamar Jackson's like, I'm so much better than you, dude.
Yeah. So stay tuned for next week's segment regarding that. But for now, let's go ahead and get into our Pigskin Pick'em first schedule prediction of the season here, going forward with the Denver Broncos. So pretty excited about this. We're going to go week by week as far as, what we think is going to, transpire. And what I will say is, if it doesn't flow as nice as we think it will, we might change it up as far as how we do things later on in future shows. So keep in mind, this is our first time on the show doing this with 3 people. So we're trying to kind of iron this out as we go. But, we appreciate the patience and all of everybody that wants to watch live as well as on YouTube. So starting off at home against the Titans, I think this is... Oh, I'm sorry, Ben, yeah.
Before we do that, I knew Matt had kind of prepared a little bit about kind of the moves and everything the Broncos have done, if you want to get into that really quick.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, all good. This is a team. So last season, 10-7 in the division. Third, they finished third, 7th in the conference. They of course lose with in Buffalo. You look at their statistics last year. Offensive EPA per play. How do I explain? EPA per play is a very common efficiency metric, if you don't know what that is. And their offensive EPA per play, how much expected points are you adding per possession per play? That is how it is very common efficiency metric among all NFL teams. It is my favorite stat to kind of track efficiency. It's better than counting stats like your total yards and things like that. How many rush yards did you have each game? But the Broncos, with a rookie quarterback and a very limited supporting cast, finished 16th with a .011 EPA per play last year. They were they were the best offensive line last year by ESPN Analytics. Their pass block and run block win rate were both first percentiles or 99th percentiles of any team last season. Their defensive EPA per play, if you knew about Denver Broncos, they were the best defense in football last year. Their EPA per play was a negative .1, so per play they were legit making teams in the negative. Their pass rush win rate was 2nd in the league, and their run stop win rate was 8th. Bo Nix, for a rookie, being 16th in EPA per play per dropback at .09 is a strong indication of, upside of what he can become if he's already 16th with the supporting cast. He had success rate 22nd, 45.3%. And then this was something interesting with him, is that his pressure to sack rate was 13.4, which you want that number to be low. Lamar didn't win MVP, but both Lamar and Josh Allen had those percentages under 10%. Bo Nix being at 13.4 as a rookie is a very good thing. You're probably thinking, well, he gets the ball out quickly. Well, he had a time to throw of 2.98 seconds, the 7th highest in the league last year. So this was a guy who was avoiding sacks. It is a very common skill. It is what just got Brock Purdy paid all that money that you just saw. But that's last season. We get into the offseason. 2 real major keeps. I kind of have these sorted out into what they kept, free agency signings, their draft signings, and then their key departures. DJ Jones, rotational defensive lineman. They re-signed him. Jaquan McMillan, he's a restricted free agent, signed him for a 1 year. The reason I bring him up is he's likely going to get replaced by, Jahdae Barron they drafted in the first round. But the last 2 years with Sean Payton, he's played over 1,400 nickel snaps. So, yeah, he's a really good player that they wanted to keep around at the restricted free agent minimum. And then you get to the free agency. The Broncos signing these 2 players specifically, and Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw, might have been the best values that I had seen of the entire free agency class. You sign Hufanga 3 for $39, Greenlaw 3 for $31. They signed Evan Ingram, Trent Sherfield as a depth receiver. And then you get to their draft. Jahdae Barron in the first round, R.J. Harvey in the second round, Pat Bryant in the third round, and Savion Jones, defensive tackle / end out of LSU. And then they didn't lose many departures. Cody Barton, kind of a 1-for-1 replacement with a Dre Greenlaw. They both have very similar strengths in backline run defense, and they're really run and hit players. Cody Barton played 1,100 snaps last year. Javonte Williams, they were willing to let walk out the door. Tremone Smith, he was a special teamer. And then Zach Wilson and Riley Dixon. This team barely lost anything. This is a 10-7 team who only got better through the draft, more young pieces. They didn't have to spend too much capital, and they made really good value signings. So the overall question I have for this team is, does the defense sustain the impact they had a year ago with being a top 3 unit? You think 2023 Browns. The Browns, the Flacco year when they went into Houston, ironically enough, these two teams share a lot of parallels except the quarterback. The Browns 2023, they were the best defense, EPA per play. They make the playoffs and they get trounced by Houston. They move on to 24th and they were 18th last year. So they dropped to a little lower than middle of the pack. Same thing happened to the Broncos. 1 game sample size, but Josh Allen, the MVP, had a 65% success rate as a drop back passer in their playoff game. For reference, the 2018 Kansas City Chiefs had a 50% success rate on the dot. They had an also .591 EPA per play. So that means every 10 plays, the Bills were essentially adding a touchdown against the Broncos and the number 1 defense last year. Another, stat reference, 2018 Kansas City, .237 in 2018.
I think that's what it all comes down to when it comes to predicting the schedule, and we'll get into it. With how they were, they were 10-7, and they did do a lot of great things, but predicting a unit, like you said, the defense, widely regarded as the best defense in the NFL this past year, predicting them to have that same success year in and year out, whether that's on the offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, for any team, predicting a team to be that good every single year is where it becomes really, really tricky. And that's really where it's going to come down to it. If that defense is just as good as it was, then maybe they'll have another 10-win season. But, we'll jump into it and we'll see where everyone has them ranked. So,
yeah, let's go ahead and dive in. So, I have them beating the Titans to start 1-0. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Again, we just talked about that defense, or Matt just talks about that defense at length. It'll be Cam's first game there. I would be shocked if they don't win this game.
Matt, what about you?
Ironically, the same, fire that Bo Nix was fed into against Seattle last year. I expect the same. I think the Broncos win this game going away pretty easily.
Yep.
Next up, I have them beating the Colts again or not again, but again winning to start the season 2-0.
As do I. Again, this Colts team is up in the air with everything they do, and we'll get into the Colts eventually on this little series we're doing. But there's a lot of question marks, especially at that quarterback position. And again, I think that defense is going to really feast. I think the Broncos are going to win this one.
Matt?
Yeah, this is a coin flip game. I'm going to go with a loss here because it's early enough in the season. It's a weird game because you don't know who's going to be playing. I think it's so, again, it's so hard to predict the schedule because you just, if this is Daniel Jones, am I really saying this confidently? Even if it's Anthony Richardson, I don't know. But it's just a coin flip game. I'm going to take the loss here. They'll probably win a coin flip game here soon.
Yep.
All right. I have them losing to the Chargers in week 3, and they're 2-1 at this point. Ben?
Yep. If you guys are fairly new to this series, teams that I see at least close to each other within the same tier, it's hard for me to go either way, so I'll have the home team winning it when it comes to division. Chargers are the home team in this case, so I'll have the Chargers winning this. Broncos are going to lose.
All right, Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Ben here. I'm just going to echo what he says.
Next up, I have them losing to the Bengals. They're 2-2.
Yes, as do I. I have them losing to the Bengals. I think there's just too much firepower. You can be a good defense, but there's only so much stopping you can do with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Joe Burrow. I think they'll lose.
Matt?
I'm going to take the Broncos here. Again, this is on Monday Night Football, so this is going to be a fun little early game. This was a fun one late in the season last year, so yeah,
Yes.
I'll take the Broncos.
Next up, I have them losing to the Eagles. They're 2-3 for me.
Are we sure that you didn't just take my entire schedule from me here, Ryan? Yeah, of course I have them. Of course I have them losing to the Eagles. What kind of fan would I be if I didn't? So.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah, I have them losing to Philly.
Not even a question. It's a stupid question.
Well, it's 6 days, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Early comeback. I mean, you're outmatched talent-wise. You're on the road.
Yeah. In New York against the Jets, I have them winning that one. Although, I'm excited to preview the Jets. This one's not in New York. This one's in London. I'm pretty excited about the Jets this year. Obviously, my boy Justin Fields, starting over there. But I'm excited to get to them at some point as well. Ben, what you got?
Yes. This one was tough for me, especially when you're considering the travel. It is all the way out. Given the Broncos will be in Philadelphia the week prior, but the Jets are going to be in New Jersey / New York. It's going to be a little bit less travel for them, but I still do have the better team winning despite all of the travel talk. I'm going to have the Broncos win this one.
All right. Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Broncos here. Again, it's going to be hard to imagine the Jets winning football games, but they're going to win football games. But not this one.
Yeah, not this one. And then again against the New York team, but this time against the Giants, I have them winning. They're 4-3 in my book right now.
Yes, yep, I have them sweeping the New York team. I'm gonna have them win this one as well.
Not very high on the Giants this year, are we, Matt?
I don't think anyone is.
Well, I'm taking the Giants here, and
wow.
you guys should know why. The jet lag.
Because you
and
love
it's
Jackson
Russell
Dart.
Wilson's revenge game in Denver. He's coming back. He's gonna get it. We're taking the Giants.
You think Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback for the Giants by week 7?
I have no idea.
that kind of factored into it for me. I think this is where I think it's probably getting close to the time
it just depends on
bit more Jackson Dart.
It depends on our own opinions, and my own opinion is Jackson Dart is so far away.
He's bad.
I can't project that guy to be playing this year, but he will.
Yep.
At home against the Cowboys, I have them losing this one. They're 4-4.
Yeah, I mean we're in lockstep here. I have them losing to the Cowboys as well.
Matt?
Yeah, I have them losing.
All right, so that means okay. And then the Texans, I have them losing this one as well. They're 4-5.
Yes, yep. I have them losing against the Texans as well. They're just, I think, the better team, but I think this is going to be another one of those close games. I wouldn't all be shocked if the Broncos end up coming away with the win here. It's one of those coin flip games, like Matt had said.
Right. I went back and forth on this one as well. Matt, what you got?
Yeah, I'm going to have them go on a little 3-game win streak with Houston on the road, and then Thursday Night Football, quick turnaround, but they're a superior team. And then I think they give Kansas City some fits going into the bye week. So I'm going to take them over Kansas City.
I like it.
Wow.
I have them beating the Raiders and losing to the Texans, beating the Raiders, beating the Chiefs. So, yeah. Ben?
Finally, we disagree a little bit. For the Raiders, just got to check who the home team was. Yep, it's the Broncos. Broncos are going to win that one. I guess we're going to be a little bit different. I think the Chiefs are the better team, and I think they will absolutely win this game. So Broncos will be losing.
Okay. All right. We're okay. So, let's see. Okay, so at this point we're at the bye week. So I want to kind of refresh everybody as far as where everybody is. Right now, I have them at 6-5. Ben has them at 5-6, and Matt has them at 7-5 going into the bye week. So
hi, man.
in Washington, yeah.
Well, how's that
in
possible?
Washington,
Wait, how do I have 7 wins? Only played 11 games.
Matt's hard, dude. Shut up. Hold on a minute. 3 and 5.
I have them at 6
Yep.
and 5.
No, I'm sorry. Yep. You also have them at 6-5. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, 6-5. Thank God, dude, because that was gonna be tough to kind of like. I don't know. It looks weird on my side. I'm sorry. Anyways, yeah. In Washington against the Commanders, I have them losing that one. Ben, what about you?
Yes, yeah, I have them losing to the Commanders as well. Again, another very close game. But I think Jaden Daniels is just gonna have a little something extra going up against another sophomore year quarterback.
Matt?
Yeah, I made the joke last week that like the Commanders could be 7-10, and I wouldn't blink just because of what their like whole talent acquisition plan is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have Commanders win this one. I don't feel good about it, but then again, like this game is 6 months away at the time of this being recorded,
Yeah.
so it's not easy to feel good about it right now.
Yeah. So I have them beating the Raiders. At this point, they're 7-6. Ben, what do you got?
I have them losing to the Raiders. They're the away team within the divisional matchup. Yeah, I have them losing to the Raiders. Geno Smith, baby.
Interesting. Matt?
I have them beating and sweeping the Raiders this year.
Nice. I do as well. All right. At home against the Packers, I have the Broncos taking this one. Surprising to everybody. Ben?
Yeah.
It's a fun one.
To your dismay, I have the Packers winning this one. But yeah, I think this will be a fun one. And, I think at this point in the season, you have to start factoring in, injuries and whatnot. And, maybe the healthier team really prevails here. But, I'll have the Packers winning.
Yeah. Matt?
Yeah, I mean this whole prediction is going to mean something later for either one of these. They're going to lose one of these games. I just don't know which one. So
Yeah.
I'll say they beat the Packers and then lose to the Jaguars. It's kind of just like my gut feel, and that could mean something for the Jaguars down the line, having that win over the Broncos in like a wild card race maybe. But yeah.
Yeah.
I too have them
yeah.
beating the Jags.
I have them beating the Jags as well. Yeah.
Or I have the Jags winning. My bad. I have the Jags
Oh,
winning.
okay.
That is my bad. I have the Jags winning this one.
Yeah, I actually have the Broncos beating the Jags. So we're all a little different now. In Kansas City against the Chiefs, I have them losing that one. Ben, what about you?
Yes. Yep. I have them losing this one as well.
Yikes, man. All right, Matt?
Yeah, they got their one from Kansas City earlier in the year, so I'll have them lose this one.
All right. And then I have them losing the finale against the Chargers. And then I'll tell you what my overall record is afterwards. Ben?
Yeah. Yes. I have them beating the Chargers this one. Again, it goes back and forth to who's the home team here, and they happen to be the home team in Week 18, and they're going to win.
Matt?
Yeah, I was looking at it. They go into this in my schedule 8-8. I'll have them win it, finish 4-2 in the division. Why not?
There you
go. So I said for my overall, I said 9-8 and a wild card contender in the AFC. And then Ben has them going 6-11, which would knock them out officially.
at all. I have them
Of the
going
playoffs.
8-9.
8-9.
Yes, I have
Wow.
them going 8-9 with the wins against the Titans, Colts, Jets, Giants, Raiders, Packers, Jags, and Chargers. So I have them going 8-9.
Oh, you misled me, bud. Okay, all right, whatever. 8-9. I'll fix that later on. Whatever. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Raiders.
Well, what does
we're
Matt
gonna go
have
ahead
them
and-
going?
Oh, Matt hasn't. Yeah, he said 9-8.
9-8. There you go.
Yeah.
So we're all around that 500 level.
Mhm.
It's the AFC,
Sorry,
it's
Broncos
tough.
fans.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
that talk you had about him.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm gonna have to apologize to Raiders fans because this is not good. I have them losing the opener to the Patriots in Week 1. Ben, what you got?
I have them beating the Patriots in Week 1.
Okay, Matt, what you got?
I have them losing.
All right.
Very, very, very quickly. Matt, do you want to go over additions/losses for the Chargers?
If I skipped over that, I'm so sorry. Or the Raiders,
yeah.
events, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yep.
I kind of want to, like, I'm not going to be as, as in-depth on their last season. They're a bad football team last year. And they won 4 games last year, and they were, so this is offensive EPA. It's an efficiency metric for, things like that on offensive end. They were a negative .131. That was 31st in the league. Only the Cleveland Browns were worse.
Ugh.
To compare that, I was interested. That is comparative to the 2021 Sam Darnold Panthers. That efficiency. That's how bad they were. They were a middle of the pack, run block and pass block team. Pass block was 17th. Run block was 22nd. They were an average defense, .016 EPA per play on the defensive end, 16th in the league. And their pass rush and run stop were both top 12. So pretty interesting there. And then their offseason was loaded, man. Of course, they get a new head coach. Of course, they get a new offensive coordinator, Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly, and then new GM John Spytek from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They kept, of course, Max Crosby. And when they signed Max Crosby, it was a massive surprise, kind of. Everyone was kind of in his trade rumors. They extend him. He is now under contract till 2030 with the Raiders. They brought back Malcolm Kuntz. They brought back Adam Butler, rotational defensive lineman. Malcolm Kuntz is a budding edge rusher who did not play last season due to, I think, a foot injury. So they kind of gave him a 1-year prove-it deal. And then Isaiah Poamau, who's kind of a rotational DB, but he's someone who played a lot. They got him for a pretty cheap contract. Now you get to the additions. The number one thing has to be the trade for Geno Smith. They gave up the 92nd pick. Ironically enough, do you guys know who became the 92nd pick in this year's draft?
Not off the top of my head.
Seattle picked Jalen Milroe with that pick.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's a fun thing to kind of follow now. They gave Geno a 2-year, $75 million extension. He's under contract till 2028. 2027, they can cut him and save $40 million. There's no guarantees into that, so the extension kind of is a 1-year extension in a way. And then you get to their free agency. Jeremy Chin, Alex Kappa, Eric Stokes, Landon Roberts, and a ton more of these vet 1-year minimum guys. Raheem Mostert is one of them. I can't even think of the rest of them off the top of my head. That's how minuscule and needle moving they are. And before, the Eagles got Zach Bond. I'm not projecting that with with these veterans that they got. Of course, their draft, they take Ashton Genty with the 6th overall pick, whatever. Jack Besh, late 2nd round. Darian Porter, a corner out of Iowa State. Caleb Rogers, offensive lineman. They state him as an offensive lineman. He had over 60 starts at Texas Tech. And then Charles Grant. And then I'm not going to throw in many day 3 players, but Dante Thornton was someone I loved. They got him early round 4. That was interesting.
Yes.
And then their departures were so insane. Traven Merrick, they let walk to Carolina. He played 1,000. He played over 1,000 snaps last year. Nate Hobbs, they let walk for 4 years, $48 million to Green Bay. He played over 500 snaps, and he played over 700 the year before. Robert Spillane, 34 starts, 2,200 snaps, 200 tackles. He goes to New England. They just let him leave. Divine Diablo played almost 700 snaps last year. Kaylavon Chason, whatever we believe of Kaylavon Chason at this point, he was a guy who had 29 pressures on 300 pass rush snaps last year, and New England signed him for basically a vet minimum. And then lastly, Andre James, their center. He's not that good, but he's played almost 4,000 snaps over the last 4 years for them, and they let him walk. And that brings me to my question, the season outlook question with the Raiders. What the hell is the timeline that's being created right now? What am I supposed to believe about the Raiders? They hire the oldest coach in football, the oldest offensive coordinator. I looked it up. It's Chip Kelly. They traded a top 100 pick for Geno Smith, who turns 34 in October. They drafted a running back at 6, and they let all the prime, like the free agents entering their prime or the guys in their prime, someone like Spillane who's 30 but still playing at a high level, they let all those guys walk and just signed a bunch of stopgap veterans for 1-year deals. The only one, like Jeremy Chin, is the richest non-free agent or outside the building free agent they signed, 2 years, $16 million. And you can't come to me and say they didn't have money. They were second behind only the Patriots. Yeah. So what am I supposed to believe that your timeline is with this team? Because this roster is not good enough to compete. And you made moves early enough when they traded for Geno. I was like, okay, they're going to be aggressive in free agency. And they were the exact opposite. It's a very weird offseason. It's a very weird first offseason that I have seen in a while. But yeah, let's get into schedule predictions because I'm interested to see where you guys view the Raiders as opposed to where I possibly view the Raiders.
Yes.
I'm going to start us off just firing out of a cannon. And I know we, briefly covered one of the games, but I'm just going to start fresh. I have them losing the first 5 matchups. One against the Patriots, one against the Chargers, one against the Commanders, one against the Bears, one against the Colts. They're starting 0-5 in my book. Not great. Ben, anything different?
Crazy. Yeah, no, I actually have them winning 3 of the first 5. I have them beating the Patriots, beating the Chargers, losing to the Commanders, losing to the Bears, and beating the Colts.
Okay, all right. Interesting that you had my team lose. What the heck? Just kidding.
What? No, I have them losing to the Bears.
I thought that you just said beating the Bears. Did you say beating the Colts?
Beating the Colts, correct.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah. I knew it was one or the other. I apologize.
Yeah.
Matt. Yeah.
I can ramble off some weeks. I think they're going to lose their first 4 weeks. I think they're going to lose to the Patriots. They're going to lose on Monday Night Football to an outmatched Chargers team. I think they're going to lose to the Commanders. I think they're going to lose to Ryan's Chicago Bears. And then I think they're going to beat the Indianapolis Colts. And then that's kind of where we're all set up. Or should I go all the way to the bye?
Let's go through the bye.
Yeah, go to the bye. Yeah.
Because it's not that hard because they're going to lose 2 more times.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have them beating the Titans and losing to the Chiefs. So I have them starting off a nice, cool 4-3 at this point.
So, Matt, just to make sure, did you have, just putting it down for my record, did you have them losing to the Colts as well? I think you did, right?
I had them beating the Colts. That is their only win in the first 7 weeks for me, is beating the Colts.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so at that bye week, I have them at 1, let's see. Yeah, I have them at 1-6 as well as Matt. Ben, what do you have them at?
Yeah, I'm at 4-3, so I guess I'm the high man on the Raiders.
Next up, against the Jaguars at home. I have them actually winning that game. Ben?
I have them losing that game.
Okay. Matt?
I have them losing that game.
Okay. Let's see. All right. And then in Denver against the Broncos, as we covered before, but just to review, I have them losing that game. Ben?
Correct. Yep, losing that game.
All right. Matt?
The Denver game?
Yep.
I had them losing both Denver games.
Cool. All right. Losing the game at home against the Cowboys as well. Ben?
Yes, the Cowboys are the Cowboys are definitely the better team. If Dak is healthy and their core is healthy, I would be shocked if this is a game.
Yep. Matt?
I have them beating Dallas.
Okay.
And then I have them beating Cleveland, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say, I have the same thing. And then I have them losing against the Chargers.
Yes, I have them losing at Chargers. Despite I wouldn't be shocked if the stadium gets taken over by Raiders fans. That's just that's what happens whenever you're playing road game against the Chargers. But I do have them losing to the Chargers.
Yeah, I have them losing to the Chargers, and then Week 14 against Denver. Like, this is is that 3-10 going into December, pretty much?
Yeah. I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Let's just round it out. Matt, what do you have after that?
I have them losing to Philly. I have them losing to Houston. I have them beating New York, and I have them losing to Kansas City. I have them finishing with the same exact record that they had last year at 4-13.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
I actually had the same exact thing. Yeah, just putting it out there. 4-13 as well.
I have the same schedule: losing to the Eagles, losing to the Texans, beating the Giants, losing to the Chiefs. But I have them finishing 7-10, so I have them winning 3 more games than you guys do. Maybe I'm just high on Ashton Jeanty in that run game that they can create. But I do think they do have a good, solid offensive line. You bring in a veteran quarterback who we all ranked as a decent starter, and an actual good running back, and they did add to the wide receiver room with Jack Betch and Dante Thornton. It's hard for me to see them not improving at least a little bit as to where they were at with the improved quarterback play. Again, better running game, and Christian Wilkins is going to be fully healthy this year, and you can't even begin to try to quantify what that impact is going to have on that team as well.
Yep. So that'll do it for the Raiders schedule. So tune in next week to get the Chargers and Chiefs schedules from us, either live or on YouTube, because we'll be putting these things out individually, team by team, for those of you that want to watch your favorite team. And maybe if you didn't catch it live, or if one of your family members or friends didn't catch it live, you guys can watch it back a little bit later at your convenience. So I want to hear from you guys, and I'm sure the other guys do as well. What do you guys think the Raiders are going to finish with, as well as the Denver Broncos? I'm happy to be back here with you guys doing Pigskin Pick'em again, because it's only just a couple months away, or I guess a few months away from the week 1, but we'll be here a lot sooner than what it seems. So any closing comments, guys?
Yep. Yeah. Really quickly, someone had asked me this question. I'm interested to see your guys' thoughts on this. Hypothetically, let's say 15, let's say 20 years. Let's give you guys some time to settle in and create a family here. Let's say 20 years down the road, right? You have a son, and your son says, "I want to play football," and you get to pick what position your son plays. It can't be quarterback. What position would you want your son to play in football, and what's the first thing you're going to teach him about that position? For me, it was easy. If it couldn't be quarterback, it was going to be edge, and it'd be edge, I'd love for my son to play just like Abdul Carter. I'd love him to be Abdul Carter and be edge. And I think the first thing I teach him is A, how to contain and how to set the edge. And B, you got to use your hands. You have to know how to use your hands. But that's my answer. I'd love to hear your guys' answer.
Matt, I'll let you go first.
I'd probably pick, safety or linebacker, something throughout the spine of the defense, because I think those are really intelligent positions. I think they really speak a lot of your intelligence and your leadership, personally, because you are responsible for such a core part of the football field that you need to be intelligent on the field, and you need to know your spots, and you need to know what you're doing, and it's just an excuse to watch Ed Reed with my son.
There you go. I want to guess Ryan's. I'm gonna guess Ryan's is either a running back or corner, or my only two. Really quickly, Matt, what's the first thing you're gonna teach your son about playing safety or linebacker?
What I'm gonna teach him?
Yeah. You gotta tell him one thing about being a linebacker or safety. Again, I guess you could say two, because I said how to use your hands and how to, set an edge. But what's the first thing you're gonna teach him?
I think really planting off that back foot and driving on the football intelligently is kind of what I would say.
All right.
My two, you got one of them, Ben. You got one of them. I really did enjoy coaching running backs. That was a lot of fun. I will not advocate for my son to play corner if that is the scenario. If he listen, before I reveal my other position, I think regardless of what we want, there's a different prototype, there's a different body type that really goes into it. So like we could want whatever we want in one hand,
fun hypothetical
and
world.
you know what in the other one, see which one fills up faster. But my thing is, if I could create something and put it out there, I would want it to be wide receiver. That would be a lot of fun. And not only that, so my thought process is this, right? So
Lad McConkey.
For me,
I had to. I'm sorry. That was the low-hanging fruit.
The lowest.
Yeah. For me, there's more spots for a wide receiver to play on the field in a spread offense, right? So in my eyes, more than anything, like I would love for my son to go and play at the next level, like play in college, stuff like that. But more than anything, I think the experience matters more than anything. If they want to go and play football, which fingers crossed, hopefully they do. If that's the case, like experience it. Hopefully you do well under the Friday night lights and you love it and you take in every second of it, because I didn't get to. And, basically, I want an excuse.
Your son's going to be great at football. What?
If they're going to be great at football, I want them to be a running back or wide receiver. They'd be a vocal point of the offense. That'd also be really fun. They would have to have some kind of swagger to them, right? So, I mean, that would be another part of it. And, there's more that comes with that. It's a package deal. So, if you, there's a lot of work that comes with it as well. And I think, given my ability as a coach and what I could do for my son in that scenario, I think that I'd be able to put my best foot forward at those two positions specifically, because I don't know the first thing about any of the other ones. And if I had to pick a third one that I have no experience at, it'd probably be safety. Safety's so much fun.
There you go. What's the first thing you're teaching them as a running back or wide receiver?
Footwork. Footwork.
There you go. Smart. How to route run.
Yeah.
He's gonna need to know how to. Yeah.
How to route run. How to. I mean, it's the hips. It's really all in the hips when it comes to that stuff. So.
Your son TikTok routes.
TikTok routes. Hey. And I'll expose. I'll expose my secret as a running back coach live on air, because why not? Saquon Barkley. Anything he does, any drills he does, anything like that. Put it on a projector on the in the future garage that I have, and just be like, hey, sit down and take notes, bud, because this is all that matters. No, I'm just playing. But that and just Okay, so when I say footwork for a wide receiver, I mean it like right out the gate.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
the
Release
first couple, the
packages.
first
Release
like
packages.
yeah, yep. Thank you. That's the thing. So yeah, that's for me and my super long answer. Yeah, that's what I would go for. But it's a fun question for sure. You said what was it? Edge rusher? What is a secondary one for you then?
Secondary one for me.
Would you
It
go
has to
O
be
line
center.
because you're like
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I want it to be center selfishly with me being a center, and as Matt said, I could sit down and be like, watch Jason Kelsey, watch him, and maybe one day you can be in a mummer's outfit screaming at a parade and then screaming at the NFL owners about some stupid play. So
Am I crazy for
And
saying I wouldn't
passionately
want my son?
generic.
Yes, exactly.
Am I crazy for saying I wouldn't want my son to be a quarterback?
I probably I think, but I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. I mean, like, it'd be, cool for them, you know what I mean? But, like, I don't know. There's a lot of pressure that comes with it and everything. There's a lot more concerns, I would argue, with injuries as well, depending on what you're doing and what, kind of quarterback and stuff. And I'd get too mad at the O-line, man. I'd be honest with you. Those boys deserve a lot more credit than what they're given. And I feel the fact that I would have more bias at the position they're supposed to be guarding, I feel like I'd be giving them not enough credit, and that would eat me alive. I'd rather be mad that the quarterback's not getting my son the ball, or my son didn't get enough rushing yards. Hit the hole, dude. Hit the hole.
You bounce it outside. Walking home now.
Get used to a sleeping bag, kid. I don't even know you right now. Hit the hole. These O-linemen are blocking for you, man. Use their back as a guide and go hit the hole. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be fun. But anyways, any other closing comments, gentlemen?
No. It's gonna be fun. I mean, this is gonna be this little segment we're doing about schedule prediction will basically take us right up to the start of the start of the season and everything. So again, just stay tuned, and it'll be fun. And again, if you guys have any thoughts about your favorite team or anything and where we messed up because we forgot about something, let us know why we're wrong and why we're stupid.
Matt, anything?
Yeah, to echo Ben, except the last part, I don't think I've ever been wrong. To be honest, like, Isaiah Simmons is still playing in the NFL, guys. But no, yeah, I'm excited.
Not right now. He's not.
I'm excited. Hey, he got signed by somebody.
No, he didn't. He's a free agent.
No, he got signed by somebody. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me live on air.
Live air. He's a free agent.
Don't do that. Yeah, he's on the Packers, buddy.
When did he get signed by the Packers?
Because they need him to stop the tush push.
I said when.
But yeah, no. I'm excited to be here for the whole season. Every time I would pop on for just the Saints. But no, like, I'm gonna give some insight that we've never had before, and really make this the best offseason of Pigskin Project ever before, and keep pushing forward until we're all famous and on First Take.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take that, Stephen A. Anyways. Yeah. So I can go on national television and talk about how stupid of a person George McCaskey is. That's going to be awesome. Pay me. Anyways. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Pigskin Project. We will be live next week, next Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Central as normal, talking about the Chargers and Chiefs. So make sure you guys tune in on that. Now, we want to thank Uppercuts Grooming, Reason Radio Sports Network, and Spotify for Podcasters for helping us grow as a podcast. And until next week, this has been the Pigskin Project. Have a good one.